morning. This is Diane coming to you from I Studio. And today I'm going to talk to you about gratitude versus stress. You know how when you're given what you ask for, like a solo show, all of a sudden you stress out. You're hard to be with, you're disorganized, nothing's getting done, it's crazy. Throw on top of that 2 more solo shows. Well, that happened. I'm so happy to say that happened to me. And of course, it's stressful. All the deadlines are clashing. The paintings aren't quite done. In some cases, publicity has to be sent out in the form of postcards, emails, and so forth. It's always great to promote your shows. So this all crashed in on me and frightened me. It actually made me insecure. So what I have decided works for me is to replace the stress with gratitude. I know this is what, as an artist, personally, I've been wanting. We all have different wants for our career, but it's a pretty good idea to define what it is that you want. And when it happens to you, instead of being stressed about it, I want you to be grateful. And when you start getting uptight, think, thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to rise up. I'm going to make it work. Okay? So there's a couple of things that you need to put in place when this kind of thing happens. Anytime you're delivering art to someone, there's going to be certain expectations that the art is at a certain level of completion. So I've spent a lot of time painting out the sides. Even if they were painted out previously, they tend to get scuffed up. And being the perfectionist that I am in the finishing stage of the work, I've began to notice in galleries if the sides of the paintings are not well prepared. Now, I think there's an exception, and I think that there are artists who leave the sides of the work with their own personal marks. I'm not opposed to that at all. It just depends. I had to paint out the sides of some older paintings a couple of weeks ago. And it felt like, in a way, it was a bit of a loss because the paint that had spilled over the edge in the making process, I thought it was beautiful and I thought it was part of the piece. But the gallerists, the design centers, they don't want that. They want to see the edges clean. So clarify that with your gallerists or wherever your piece happens to be going. Clarify that and see what they want. The surface has to be, well prepared. I am waxing my last piece for everything that's happening. And I have 2 pieces that I was going to wax. And I looked at the surface, the matte surface, and I'm really enjoying the surface as it is. I don't think they're calling for wax. I'm not going to wax them. You always have to look at the painting and ask the painting, what does it want? What's best for the painting? Then another little ritual that I practice is, as I'm preparing the paintings, painting their sides, waxing their surface, varnishing their surface, whatever I'm doing, wiring the back, I'm releasing the painting to do its job. It's very much like when your child grows up and you want them to be self-sufficient and you encourage them to live their life and hope they're living the best life possible. It's the same with the painting. You're wanting it to go to the best place possible for it to do its job of healing, inspiring, helping people think, and sometimes just helping people feel and elevate and lighten up. Sometimes that's it too. So anyway, release your painting. Tell it it's okay. You are done. You and I are done. I want you to go on your way. And that's part of my ritual for putting my paintings out in the world and hoping that they do their job. So I'm going to take you around the studio a little bit to show you what I'm doing. And another thing I forgot to mention, you will often be asked to write a little something about each painting. And that kept me up last night. I didn't know, what to say, what I was going to say. And I got up at 5:30 in the morning yesterday and I wrote 2 statements, one for the painting that you see behind me, and then there's one on the table waiting to get the final coat on the sides painted out. So what I did was I brought the pictures up on the screen. I looked at them and thought, what is it that this really evokes in me? And how is the painting constructed to make that work? And in this one, I talked about it being an intimate space. I call it Spring from the Grotto. And I talked about how that red rock-like edge prevents the viewer from flying off the edge of the canvas. It brings them into the center area. And this is a vast kind of meditative, calm space here. And it's like a pool of water. The green on the top reminds me of rocks, and it felt like an enclosed grotto that a spring was coming out of. And it's a very meditative place, and that's the job that I want the painting to do, to bring the viewer into a contemplative state. So I explained that in the statement. It was 2 paragraphs. The other painting was 1 paragraph long, and I just looked at the paintings and wanted to explain them in my words. And they're somewhat poetic. I think most of my statements sort of are. And I have recruited help in writing some of my statements. And what I find sometimes is that although the content is the same because I supply the content, the words aren't my own. And I do want them to be my own. I'm not saying you cannot recruit help in your writing. I encourage it. We as artists are not required to be writers. We're not required to be photographers. We can get help with a lot of things that we're doing, and don't be afraid to reach out. Anyway, let's walk around and take a look at a couple things here. Okay, you can see my tables are crowded with paints. I've got a sander, and I have 1 painting on the table waiting to be waxed. And in order to wax it, I'm also going to have to clean up the sides. Because I use a lot of paper and paint, my sides can get very thick. And you can see a little overhanging paper here that's going to need to be sanded off. So I sand with 60 grit. Then I do a second sanding with 120 grit, and I finish the sanding with a 240 grit sandpaper. So my sides are beautiful, and then I wax them along with the top. So it's a gorgeous finish. Craftsmanship, sort of like furniture. This is the last of this triptych that needs to be waxed. Let me show you the other 2 up on the wall. These are the 2 that have been waxed, and they're completed, waiting for their 3rd partner to create the triptych. I think I'm going to call these Lotus Ascending. They remind me of the feeling, the essence to me is like lotus flowers growing from the mud towards the sunlight. So that's what's happening with these. They're all ready to go. This is for my show at the Gearbox Gallery in Oakland. As we're approaching my second room, you can see 2 paintings on the table. I am painting the sides out of these. I need to put the second coat on. And the surface I have decided to leave flat. I do not believe I'm going to wax it. These are going to the San Francisco Design Center for the spring show. And then these 5 panels are going to my show at the Gearbox Gallery in Oakland. I believe I'm going to put this cold wax piece in the Oakland show. It's the only piece I didn't do specifically for the show. And then this piece also will go in the San Francisco Design Center. And it's ready to go, signed, sealed, and delivered. So that's my advice on how to prepare for your shows. Remember to practice gratitude instead of stress. And give me any questions that you have in the comments. I love hearing from you. It really makes my day often. So keep those coming, and please subscribe and share. I really appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.